And by the way, everybody, Tony, thank you so much for coming in. Tanya, Jeffrey, Burlette, Todd, Lisa, Lindsay, Galaxy, everybody, thank you guys so much for coming on in. Jennifer, I see you over there. Lisa Joe, I see you. I see you, Jay Tasha, Mish, Sandra. Hey, Sandra, good to see you. Kathy, good to see you. Ian, always good to. Ian and I did a movie together a gazillion years. New York Undercover. Yeah, a while ago. Linda B. It goes from the red carpet. She's quite a iconic figure around here, I will say. Come on and tell us how you went from the red carpet to now well, listen, every red carpet occasion is a time for wine, in my opinion. So it kind of works in both of your worlds. We'll come back to Linda. In the meantime, if you guys have any questions for the ladies, come on in and put them here so that I can ask the questions for you, or pop you in so you can ask them yourself. Let's see. Mish says, wow, awesome. I've been a deacon in my church ever since January of this year. A deacon? Go on, Mish. From Ian says, I'm a psychiatrist in residency medical school. It's going to be a whole new world for psychiatrists soon. You better believe it. And you know something, Ian, I also believe it's going to be a new day when we come out of this, because people are going to be a little bit more comfortable at speaking out about mental illness, as they are about race, as they are about disease and illness. I think that this could be a big boom, and maybe that's where your opportunities are, for the fact that society is going to be a little bit more amenable to these things. I just spoke with a judge. Y'all go listen to my podcast, Rolonda on Demand, when you get a chance. RolondaOnDemand.com, or wherever that's on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts. But there's some good stuff over there. I've got some really cool conversations about race and about COVID, and how I just spoke to a judge out of Baltimore who was talking about how the justice system seems to have become like the spillover for mental illness, for alcoholism, for everything in our society. And now how is all, this affecting? So people are really tuning into that. I think that's a change and a reinvention for America, is going to be on race relations, class relations, mental wellness, illness, health, and maybe a little kindness thrown in there about how we're going to treat each other. Any questions, anything else? Ladies, let me ask you this. When those times got hard, when you were trying to figure out, because I mean, this was something totally new for all of you. Tiffany, what did you tell yourself when you were like, I mean, where did you go to get that type of strength? Do you have mentors around you? Did you have a thought leadership group? I mean, I know you prayed a lot. I think we all do. But I also believe that reinvention and the success in that comes from strategy. Mm-hmm. It comes from thinking things through, writing down lists, checking things off. 5 things I'm going to do today to go toward that goal. I want to know what your strategy was.
Yeah, I think that's a big pull for me with the wine, is that I had a mentor. And most of the times I look back at life where I really thrived, I had a radio talk show for a while, and I did a lot of different things in my life. And when I had a mentor that guided me, I always feel like I thrived. And so one of the things I loved about Scout and Cellar is that one of my dear friends got involved, and she's someone I really trusted. And she said, okay, I'm doing this and I want you to get involved with me. And because I trusted her, I joined the company the very last day of the first year. So I'm a founding member, like, by the very last day. And I always kind of laugh now, because if I had hesitated for this opportunity, I wouldn't be a founding member. And that's a really big deal for me. I'm very competitive as well. And so I really noticed that about myself. And I really loved that I could say to myself that I was one of 290 people that founded the company. And so that was
a really founding cool member is like unbelievable. That's so the cool. Sweet spot.
So cool. And I really like to follow my gut. I keep talking about that, but I think it's important. And when I heard, Sarah's story that you shared with us, Rolonda, I just love the fact that there was a woman who took a risk. She went from, a quote, secure job as a lawyer to kind of a risky business in the wine industry. And she took this chance. And I really followed her passions and what she was doing. She's really disrupting the wine industry, and she's
She is
shedding
a
light on the
disruptor.
fact that,
And,
yeah, she's a
explain,
disruptor.
and
I want to be
explain
a
that,
part of
because
that.
you're dealing with e-commerce now. Because
Right.
people aren't walking to your store, Tiffany, to go browse up and down the rows. They're gonna, and in fact, somebody, Linda, we're gonna come to you because I hear we've got a connection with you now. Somebody
Okay.
put in the chat the website so that we can support you. Can I just say this? I got your wine for my birthday. Thank you, Linda.
You're welcome.
And it was delicious. And I'm a big Chardonnay girl. I love me some Chardonnay. But I have the Chardonnay and a sparkly one, and it's just as clean and light, and it's lovely for the summer. It really is, I'll say, and no headaches. No headaches, I will say that. So if people want to check it out, let's put that website there. Linda, come on in and talk about your journey from grapes to glass.
From grapes to glass. So I've always had a journey of grapes to glass. I just was not in a business. So I always loved wine. Always, always, always. And I just was a friend of Erin's. And Erin and I, we used to be at football games together, just constantly at football games. Her son is a very good professional, well, not professional yet, but he will be a professional quarterback. He's excellent. And Noah played football. So we spent a lot of time together. And Erin is so organized. She would organize everything for all the mothers. And so I would, help her along. And in this journey, when the kids were out of school and the pandemic started, she started telling me about this business. And because I love wine and I love people as well, I thought this was awesome because I have an autoimmune deficiency as well. I have lupus. And so with lupus, a lot of times if you drink some of the wine, you will get sick. But I had no clue that it was because of the pesticides and the sulfites and all that kind of other yucky stuff. So once I was able to taste it, it was delicious. And me and Erin used to stay really close to each other. So we used to trade wine back and forth like we were winos.
Sommeliers.
Sommeliers, right. So we just had a lot of fun. I started working with Tiffany. Tiffany is awesome because any kind of issue you may have in the business, she's able to go right to the person who's in charge. And so it just has been a great journey. And it's just been awesome because right now with the wine industry, with the liquor industry, period, wine and spirits, wine is really taking an increase. People are really, really drinking more wine.
Yeah, they say up 29% alcohol consumption, and that was back in the spring. Summer hadn't even hit when they had those numbers yet.
Oh my God! Like this industry is $1 billion industry. I can't remember the number. I think it's 73 billion. Tiffany could give more insight to that, but it's a 73, I think, $1 billion company.
I think you're
not
right.
Company, industry.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
And for a woman to break through all those barriers.
Wait, check this out. The global wine business will reach 423.59 billion.
Wow.
By 2023.
Wow.
And if you guys are in the healthy, clean, crafted wine business, you're going to put yourself in the good stead anyway. I want to come back and ask you, when you start a new business, how do things also that are going on in society, like Black Lives Matter, how those types of things affect you? Diversity, inclusion, belonging. How do you work? How do you cover yourself when you're doing business? And let's face it, the numbers speak for themselves. You can say what you want about diversity, but the average business that is diverse is like 24% more revenue than those that are monolithic. So diversity does pay off in numbers, but I just wonder how you structure and how you think about that in terms of business. You guys can speak on that a bit also.
Yeah. Well, during the pandemic with the Black Lives Matter, Tiffany will be able to speak on it a little bit better, but Tiffany asked me, like, how did I feel and what was going on. And we talked and had a talk. And like the very next 2 days, within 2 days of her speaking to me, and I'm sure other consultants spoke with each other, but Sarah sent out this letter that was outstanding, where she actually gave money to organizations, Black Lives Matter, NAACP, and she took a stand and told everybody that Black Lives Matter, which was huge in the industry. Because like, I mean, it was very early on. So people started to jump on later, but Sarah jumped on right away. And I just love her for that. Tiffany, you could talk about it a little bit more.
Well, I think you said it right. You said it perfectly, Linda. And I think from my perspective, you know, I felt so lucky to be in an industry that we have so many diverse voices. And so my first call was to Linda, because I said, Linda, I just want to listen. Like, I want to listen and hear you. And what can I do to partner with you? And that is something I loved about being a part of a company where I have partnerships that are all over, you know, the United States. And I was able to really listen. And I heard so much about what was really happening on the ground, because the consultants are all over the US. We're really able to lean on each other and to listen to each other. And for me, a big part of Scout and Cellar, it's the wine is fantastic and I love the wine, but the community and the passion for really caring about the earth, because that's a big mission of our company, and caring about community. And so just like Linda said, we wanted to give back to Black Lives Matter. We donate to cancer research. You know, we have a spritzer and we give back to bee conservation. And so I love being a part of a company. And I think we all want to put our money places where, you know, we're really making a difference in the world. And so I was very proud to be part of a company that was standing for the right things. And also just so many new friends that I could call and say, I want to listen. I want to hear and walk and be with you, because we're stronger together. And I feel like there's so much, during the pandemic, there's so many things that have brought us together, even though we've been separate. And this was something that really made me feel connected. And, you know, Linda and I have had lots of conversations, and I will continue to have those. So it's pretty special part of my life, Linda.
There's no question that when your company stands up and takes a stand, a courageous stand like that, that it makes you feel. I know that I've got some projects on Netflix, and Netflix was one of the first that came out. It was like, yeah, I'm proud to say I work with Netflix. You know,
Right.
That does make a difference. But let me also just point out the millennials are very particular about who they work with these days. You know, back in the day, in our days, we were so happy to get a job. We'd take it for 3 weeks vacation and call it a day. These kids don't play like that. And if you don't have some kind of philanthropic leg to your business, some give to the whales or save straws or something, they probably gonna keep passing it. If they walk in a room and see only one type of people, chances are they're not gonna stay, because that's just not their world. So the diversity thing is important for so many reasons. But the young kids who, you know, 65% of them are in cross-cultural relationships. Those are the types of things that they look for. And we know that they are looking to save the earth and so many things, far more than I think our generation did, that kind of stuff. I remember wearing a POW bracelet back in the day, you know, maybe saving whales in the ocean, you know, something, but these kids are on it. Mish says, I'm a person who can do many different things well. Do you ladies have any advice on how to prioritize what I do?
Erin is our queen.
Erin, you're the organizer.
Yes, she is. That's how she organized herself to Colorado and is on this call in 1 week.
Yeah. So I don't know if I'm good at prioritizing. However, I guess my thought related to that is whatever skills you have, like make a list of your, 3 to 10 things that you think you do well. It doesn't, even if it's cleaning your house, like whatever it is, those skills are so applicable to so many different types of careers or opportunities. And that's something actually in the wine business that I didn't realize, that I had all of these skills that I used in education, working with teachers and college faculty. that are totally transferable. Like the organization is one, but mentoring, teaching, communication, connecting with other people, the social aspects. So it's likely that whatever it is that either you enjoy or that people said, you do that well, those are transferable even to fields that you never even considered. So I think it's important to think about what is it you like and what do you do well, and then take those skills and adapt them to other things that you might be interested in.
Mm-hmm. And, I think that was a great suggestion also, Erin, is, I often suggest to people, ask the people around you that you really admire, not those shady people who going to say, girl, you don't need to be doing all that. Those kind of, who those people are. Stay far away from them. But, people who really, really admire them, ask them, what are qualities you think I'm good at? What do you think I would be good at? Where do you see me? Just because sometimes people will see things in you that you never see in yourself. I never saw me doing an internationally syndicated talk show.
Right.
So Roger King came up to me, and let me tell you, I had gone to do another talk show. I had left the news business, go do this little show called Attitudes on Lifetime Television. And in 9 months, it was canceled. I just bought a house and a car, thought I was off to glory. And honey, I was on unemployment line. And I got a call from Roger King out of the blue, y'all. Roger King, still to this day in heaven, the #1 sellingest human being in television. Oprah, Wheel of Fortune, Jeopardy, Inside Edition, American Journal. I could go on and on. The Rolonda show. Called and said, Rolonda, I want you to come and do a talk show. I'm like, what? I don't do talk shows. But I didn't see that in me. Now that's what I'm known for. Mm-hmm. But he said, you've got so much more to say than in 1 minute and 30 seconds. And I was like, really? But sometimes people will see things in you that you don't see in yourself. So leave it open for people who care about you to tell you about some of your greatest strengths. Thank you, Tiffany. You ladies are awesome, says Mish. I actually have thought about a charity business to start over the years, says Patricia. So would I apply these same principles? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You say, mm-hmm, Erin?
Oh, yes, I was typing to her. I certainly think that, because I suspect whatever the charity business that you're interested in, the reason why you're interested is because you have some sort of personal connection, or you have had an experience related to that. I suspect it's not something that's totally out of the blue, but if you spend some time thinking about really what is your interest, why that charity, how did you learn about that need or cause, you'll find that you have a history there, or you have, some sort of personal connection or something that ties you to that need or that want. And so I think it's giving yourself, and that's what was great about the pandemic. It gave you time to kind of sit with yourself or your family or your friends and to think about, how do I really want to spend my time? What is important? And, what can I do in the future to work toward whatever that goal is?
Yeah. Just some really great takeaways, ladies. And you're getting lots of compliments about your sisterhood, and about your stick-to-itiveness. The other good thing about when you reinvent and you give yourself credit for the little things, be proud that you did what you said you were going to do that day. Mm-hmm. There's nothing that makes you feel better than doing what you said you were going to do. Just that little thing that gives you just such, oh, thank God I got that done, check off the list. We only have a few minutes left. Ask any questions you have right now. And ladies, anything you want to say to wrap up? Linda, you want to wrap up or think about some good takeaways if you're listening, something that really hit you that you took away from today's conversation? One day at a time during a wine talk.
Well, I want to say, if anybody is interested in joining the wine business, you can contact one of us. We would definitely, help you get started. This is a great business to be in right now, because we already did the stats and statistics, and we see that people are drinking. So I know by Christmas, they'll really be drinking, right? So the wine is delicious. I would love for you guys to try it. It really has helped me to be able to drink a little bit more, They have all sorts of different things. I don't know if I wanted to lift this up. This is a can. They have a can of wine, and it's very, very good. Where am I? Oh, a can. I don't know if you can see a can. Here it is. And it's very, very good. And it has 6% alcohol. So if you really don't want to, if you just want to get a nice little, calmness, that's it, because you don't have to have a huge glass of wine and maybe, stop working. You want to continue to work. So that right there is really good.
And Linda, I found the price point was very reasonable.
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
An
I'm so
incredible
glad.
price point. And as I don't know about y'all, well, I guess we're not hopping to people's houses, but it's always good to have in case you go visit somebody or go social distance,
Right.
bring a nice little bottle of wine, and get a case so you just have them at a good discount rate that you can.
Mm-hmm.
No, very, very much so. And then when people are now at home, and if they get a box of wine, a gift of wine, not a box, but if they get a gift, 2 bottles of wine, they are ecstatic. I
That's
just sent, everybody is
But
happy.
explain that, because the gift box comes with 2 bottles.
Yes, the
That's
gift
what
box.
I got for my birthday. I tore them bottles up.
I'm so glad you did. The gift box, and the gift box is cute. So the gift box comes with 2 different types of wine. You can have both white, both red, or red and white. So it's different, and you just choose. And it's a very good price point, because the gift box is only $49 and no shipping. However, Rolonda got Prosecco wine, which is a little different. So that's not the $49 box. But
to get that box and open it up, just the presentation is everything. And there those 2 bottles, it's like, oh, I'm so special to somebody.
Exactly. And they also send you the little gift in there. They send you the gift note and everything, and it comes directly to your home. So, what better way? You never have to leave your home, to get some great wine.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Linda, are you scoutandcellar.com Aspire Wines with an S?
No, I am scoutandcellar.com Aspire Me LA.
Oh my goodness. You're gonna have to put that in the chat. And
I
I'm gonna
put
put
it in
it,
the chat.
well, there it is. And I'm gonna put it on the Facebook page too.
Okay,
I
good.
think we're going live on
Erin
the
just
Facebook
put
page.
it in there. Yeah.
So I'm sure Erin has done it. Erin is like our.
And Jay Tasha, I want to thank you so much. I know wherever you are, you're handling business technically. So I want to do a shout out to our tech angel.
And our tech angel is a millennial. Our tech angel is a millennial. And she's been answering questions. So she's been directing questions. So thank you.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we couldn't do it without you. We got to be intergenerational. I tell you what, helping auntie out, helping auntie out. You guys, I just want to say thank you so much to everybody who came in today. You could have been 50 million places on your Thank God It's Friday happy hour, and you decided to be here with us. And I hope that there's some things, as my mama said, you got 2 ears, stuff to go in and stuff to go out. But I think there's a lot of good little morsels that get stuck in your brain in between on this. And whatever you're doing this week, as you're plotting and planning again this weekend, put some of these little moments to test on your list of things to do. What are 5 things I can do this weekend or this week that are going to lead me toward the goal that I want? What are 10 things that make me so happy? Who are 3 people I can call this weekend and say, hey, can I just ask you a weird question? What are 5 things you think I'm really strong and good at? What are 3 things you could see me doing? Put those things to test. Go to YouTube, listen to some meditation, learn how to meditate. Whatever it is, step out of your comfort zone and do something a little different that makes you uncomfortable, because that's where we grow. And then you hear these wonderful stories. I want to keep our happy hours going. I want to keep some great reinvention stories going. I always say retreat, the Rolonda's retreat, the R stands for recreation. It should be fun. Recreation and recreation are the same word, but that means it should be fun. E, enthusiasm. Find things you're enthusiastic about. I love that word because the root is theos, God. Anything you're enthusiastic about, God's going to meet you halfway on that. He put it in your heart. He gave you the batteries to go with it. The R-E, the T, the testimony, the stories we told today. That's what's going to make the difference. And that's where the glory is. That time when I was on that picket line serving pizza to the SAG-AFTRA people after I'd been an internationally syndicated talk show host. But that's when I discovered my talent as a voice actor. And that's when my voice works more than me now. You know, that enthusiasm, that testimony, that art, get results. You're going to get results when you put to test what these ladies have shared today. You know, and you're going to be able to execute because you're going to have a plan. I'm sure you got some plans from this conversation today. You're going to be able to execute and actually make things happen. And then at the end, you're going to have all of that triumph and testimony and all of that good stuff because you've put in the time and the work and the effort and the dreams to make it happen. So put your stuff to work. Thank you so much for tuning in to Rolonda's Reinvention Retreat Happy Hour Weekend. Go out there and kick off your weekend. Tell your friends about it. We'll probably run a replay on Facebook. So if there's somebody you say they really need to hear this, tell them about it. Tell them sign up at Rolonda.com. I'm going to be sending out the replay to everybody. We got a bunch of reinventionists over there who love to listen to the replays. So that'll be replaying. If there's somebody you say, girl, you need to hear this conversation. These women were so fierce today. You need to hear that. Go on and check it out. I'm going over time, which I tend to do. Good night. So long. And everybody, let's do a cheers. Here's to our dreams, to believing that change is good, to holding on to faith when you feel like you're losing your face. Hold on. And because you can think of some good things to reinvent yourself with and some good people around you. So thank you so much, everybody. Have a great weekend and a great week, and stay tuned for the next one. We'll figure out who we're going to have in next. Ladies, I love you. Tiffany, Linda, Erin, thank you. And please send love to Sarah as well. Tell her we really appreciate it, and we'll meet her next time. Okay, everybody. Ian, Barlett, Galaxy, Sandra, Jeffrey, Tanya, Nicole, and Jay Tasha, my girl, Tony, Marae. Oh, Maray's got a great reinvention story too. We just got some reinventionists in here. Love you guys. Linda, thank you so much. Good night, everybody. Jay Tasha, peace out. I'm just so excited about today, y'all. We have such great guests. You know, this whole thing about Rolonda's Reinvention Retreat, you know, some of you know it all too well. You are such supporters and you're really benefiting, I can see, from the talk that we have and the stories that we tell. I was telling our guests today, I said, you know what, we're just going to chit chat because I love how in the middle of a pandemic, you women said, you know what, stop your whining. But wait a minute, maybe we should start whining. And they created a very successful wine business in the middle of a pandemic, people. Some girls who got together, moms, attorneys, minister, PR person, and said, why don't we put our resources together and think outside the box? Well, they may have wine in a box in your refrigerator soon. Maybe they're thinking inside the box. Look at that. Wine sales today, as you can imagine, are really booming. I don't know about you, but I pick up about 3 or 4 bottles when I go out. Even if we go to our local stores, we're probably paying more. Now, that could be a lot of different reasons, but let me tell you, Nielsen, I was just looking at this. As you're talking about reinventing and taking advantage of what's happening in society. I mean, because all of us, let's face it, that's why I get so jazzed about reinvention. Y'all remember we started talking about this a year or so ago, and people were like, why is Rolonda talking about reinvention? Well, maybe because she's done it 50 million times. But then all of a sudden, as the year went by and COVID hit, it started making sense. People started using words like reinvention and pivot and, oh Lord, help me, I don't know where the check's coming in from tomorrow, but I gotta have faith. And even if they're reinventing their businesses and the way they think about how we look at each other in terms of human beings, our humanity. Have you ever heard words like empathy being used in business? Kindness, caring, that Black lives matter. So as we're listening to these stories of success, and I love, and y'all get you a drink now. Cheers, everybody. Thank God it's Friday.
Auntie, what
Lift
you
the
drinking?
glass. So good to see everybody, and we want to welcome our guests. Cheers. But check this
Cheers,
out.
Rolonda.
Nielsen, who I pay attention to, Nielsen being in the television business, Nielsen ratings, I kind of listen to them, but they said that since March, between March and April, just alone, that sales were up like 29, 24%. Now, a lot of that could be because we're pantry loading. We don't want to go to the store as often as we want to, as we probably normally would. A lot of us are like freaked out and just drinking more. You don't have to drive, for God's sakes. The kids are driving you crazy. Whatever that reason is, Americans are consuming, buying, even at higher prices. But those things with the big old handles, those big old liquor jars, they said, oh, they're going quite well. So, it's kind of like, what's going on in America? And I think our guests today are going to be able to give us an insight on who we are as consumers and watching our patterns. I think a lot of what's going to be success in this new norm, I throw that term out like everybody else does till we come up with a new norm for the new norm phrase. But we're going to be finding our way, and a lot of tapping into, I think, is going to be, who is our audience? Who is our consumer? What are we doing day to day in this new world that we live in? I know as a voiceover artist, my goodness, we're working a lot these days, but a lot of it is because businesses are revamping. They're coming out with the "we care about your life." They're coming out with "be nice to each other. We're going to get through this. Thanks to the people on the front line." Everything. So now voice artists are being hired for the empathy in their voices, the kindness that they show, the being able to pull you in with authority and assurance, letting you know everything's going to be okay. Our hairdressers have to change the way they do things. The way they play in the organ in the church today's got to change. Everything is changing. So one cog of that wheel changes, everything changes. And I want to know from our guests today how they were able these are women who come from different walks of life, who somehow came together and came up with an idea. But here's what I want to know. How do you stick with the idea? So many of us have an idea that floats by us like a little baby down feather, and we can't catch it or don't pay any attention to it. How do you know when your idea is really good? And what kind of research do you do to back that up? And who do you talk to? Right now we're so isolated. I want to know who they talked to when they got their business plan together to launch this wine business. Stop your whining. No, they said, come on, girls, let's start whining. And now they have reinvented themselves: an attorney, a minister, a PR agent, a mom, starting a new business. And we're going to hear about that today. So let me tell you right now about our guests. I'm so excited. I love to see women doing their things. And let me also point this out, please. I just spoke with David Tutera, and many of you have probably seen David. He does that show on We TV, Celebrations, where he does all these wild things for parties and bar mitzvahs and weddings and everything. Well, just when you think that business would be over in the middle of COVID, David said, I got to reinvent. Sometimes we have to reinvent what we already have to make it work. There are times I sit up here as the reinventionist because, let me tell you, in 40 years in TV, broadcasting, news, and entertainment, I've been a journalist, a producer, a talk show host, an anchor woman, news reporter, stand-up comedian, producer, author, actor, voice actor, masterclass teacher for voice acting, manager of talent. Was that 12? Man, I remember when it was 4. when it was 4 people thought I was schizophrenic and wasn't focused. That was back when they wanted to keep women and anybody with creativity in a box and tell them, shut up. It was like, what do you mean? You're going to be a talk show host. You're a journalist. Stay in that box. And boy, when I went to Hollywood, oh, I was totally crazy. Everybody thought I had lost my mind by then. And I got out here and I had done all the news, the talk shows covered murder and mayhem. I'd done the talk show, Inside Edition, WABC, WNBC, Attitudes on Lifetime Television, the Rolonda show, internationally syndicated, then came out here to switch up and do Hollywood acting and writing. And as crazy as it sounded, it was pretty crazy till I started booking like an Alka-Seltzer commercial and Sister Sister. You know, people think you're crazy till you start making money. So just hold fast to your dream, because everybody thought I had just jumped off the freaking deep end. That was just, I had just lost my mind. And you know what? And when you go for your dreams, sometimes jumping off the deep end, the water may be a little shallow. You know, I love Gary Vaynerchuk, who is one of my, I love him. He's a social media guru. I love him, follow him. He wrote a book called Crush It that changed my life. He's got another one called Jab, Jab, Punch. He's fantastic. If you're trying to work your social media game, which is every part of reinvention, every part of success of any business or anything or any branding you want to do, you got to tame that social media beast. And I know a lot of people of a certain age say, I am not touching that thing with a 10-foot pole. Well, you better invite it to sit at the table and be your friend and have tea. That's how important that is, because you will not only be out of the loop, you will disappear. You know, we said that when people were walking around outside, and you were like, yeah, I'll go meet people outside. Hey, how's that working for you now? People with social media connections, whether that is in terms of an audience, a following, a fan base, or just friends with, you know, LinkedIn, for God's sakes, you know, friends with real benefits, you know, this time with real benefits right now. Those people are the ones who are probably faring very well right now because they're using those resources and tapping back in. I was mentioning David Tutera because David reinvented his whole business. You know, we look at the hands we're dealt and the cards we still have them. What can we play here? He said, let's turn these weddings into virtual events. You know, I don't know about you, but I've been to a wedding. My birthday was in July. Everybody's going to have a birthday this year. So I had a party with my friends virtually. I've seen karaoke parties. I've seen funerals, people. Everything is turning into events. And so there's a new way to go there, which I think my friends today should have a stake in all events. Even all the people who are going to break up after all of this COVID-19, I think there are going to be tons of breakup parties. And think of all the babies that are going to be born. We're going to be celebrating a bunch of stuff coming up. And I hope we're going to be doing it with Scout and Cellar wine. And let me tell you why. I always love to celebrate when women get together and do great things. Now, I love my guys and thems and theys and thits and that's and all the rest. But when my sisters get together and come up with something in the middle of a pandemic, I think that's a good thing. They call it a journey from grapes to glass. And you're going to meet, Sarah's here today, right? Sarah? Sarah, where's Sarah? Is she around? Sarah is the CEO and founder of Scout and Cellar. And
oh, I think you muted yourself, Ro.
okay, I unmuted myself. Are we there now? Okay, I don't know where I left off. But I said that this is going to be a journey from grape to glass. Did you hear that part? And I was talking about live shots, live shots. If I hadn't done this for 40 years, I wouldn't understand live shots, okay? All right. Sarah Shadonix, and please, if I mispronounce your last name, Sarah, you can mispronounce Rolonda. I'll give it back to you. She's the CEO and the founder. She's an attorney. She's been an attorney for years. But she said she wanted to reinvent. She wanted to do something about a passion. And she had a passion for wine. But she had a pain point about wine. When she drank wine, she'd get these headaches. She wanted to be a sommelier, but she was getting all these headaches. Now, being a good attorney that she is, she of course did her research to find out why, and come to find out that most of the wines, a lot of them we love, because I don't know about you, I get wine headaches too. It's because of all the gook they're putting in all of this wine, like pesticides and sugar, like globs of sugar. So she said, well, what if? And see, I'm in Hollywood. Every great success story in Hollywood starts off, what if? So if you come up with something and you go, what if, that's a great sign, people. What if I could enjoy wine, sell wine, make people happy around wine that doesn't give them a freaking headache? And that started the trick. She did her research and came up with a clean crafted wine. I mean, isn't that what we're talking about right now in terms of health? Everybody's talking about the freaking immunity. Everybody's talking about being kind to people in their business. Well, then don't give me pesticides and a headache. You know? So guess what? All of this is coming together. Start pulling together the dots to reinvent, people. Look at this. All right. Then she hooks up with Linda Bronson-Abbott. Linda is a big figure around here in Los Angeles, on red carpets, around celebrities. She's a PR person. The Pan-African Film Festival, you name it, Linda's probably done it. And she's a mom. And so she got involved. And she's a health fanatic also. So, you know, a lot of people want to move into the health arena. There are different ways to do it. You don't always have to be a workout person. But you can work out some pesticides out of some wine for a sister, please. Thank you. Erin Gordon Grady, also from Los Angeles, but Erin just moved to Colorado last week. You just moved? Talk about reinventing yourself, Erin, right before our eyes. She became a wine consultant, but she said she did this after a lot of self-reflection. Because that's what we're going through too, and that's where you're going to find a lot of your reinventive answers, is when you really self-reflect. What is important to you right now? I don't know about you. I'm getting rid of so much stuff. I was like, you know, empty that storage and now get in that garage. I don't want to go through life with all these burdens. And I'm getting rid of some people that were burdens too. Not everybody belongs in your life after the cloud lifts. And if they're not supporting you in your dream, get rid of them. Just like old furniture and old clothes that don't fit anymore. Get rid of it. Doesn't belong in this group. But we're going to talk with Erin because I want to know how she made that big decision. Change is tough. I believe change is good. I up and move everywhere. People think I'm crazy, but you know, it takes a lot to make that decision. And I want to know what she was thinking when she made that decision and why. Tiffany Wright. Tiffany became a consultant with Scout and Cellar. And she is one of the founding members of this company. So she's somebody who believed in this from the very beginning. How do you know when you have a successful business? Tiffany's coming to us from Dallas. And here's Tiffany's big switch. Tiffany, you're going to have to explain this one. We're going to start with you. Tiffany was a minister for 20 years, quit her job to reinvent herself just 2 weeks before the coronavirus hit. Girl, your timing, well, you must have divine timing, Tiffany. Just tell us about it.
I'll have to go first. Well, you know, Jesus, cheers. Jesus turned the water into wine, Rolonda.
Well, listen, he reinvented a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
and I depend on him to help my reinvention process.
Right.
Jesus, keep me near to the cross.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
So fun. So I actually was in broadcast journalism. That was my very first career, and I've always loved people. And so, you know, that kind of led me into ministry. So I did congregational care in a church for 20 years, and I always loved wine. And we're a very progressive church. So, you know, we all would drink wine in community, and I loved that. And I had a friend that introduced me to the company, and so it kind of became a side hustle. But then I really just found my passion with it. I was really wanting something different. We all have those kind of itches, kind of like Sarah Shadnick's had when she started the company, right? She was a very successful lawyer, and you have reinvented yourself so many times, Rolonda. You know, we do things, and sometimes we have to follow our instincts, right? We get these little nudges that say, but I'm looking over here and I see something else that's kind of focusing my passions. And so that's kind of where I was. And so I took a huge leap of faith because I really did feel like, you know, this was like a way that I could really have more financial freedom and do some different things in my life. And so, like you said, I left my job of 20 years 2 weeks before Corona came to town. And there was a lot of kind of panic at first, like, what have I done? I left this very stable, quote, stable.
How did you deal with that moment of fear? I mean, let's call it what it is.
Well, I prayed a lot. And then I really just leaned into my instincts. My instincts kept saying, Tiffany, keep going, keep touching your business and follow your passions. And, you know, the schools all closed, and I found myself in this wonderful position of having more time with my child. And, you know, everybody who's a parent realizes, like, what were we gonna do, right? So I was at home with my child, and I just started to work on my wine business. And then Linda and Erin, they can tell their parts, but they jumped in. And then my business tripled. Between March and April, my personal business and my sales and everything, it doubled.
Boy, we've been drinking a lot during coronavirus.
Yes. And people just wanted to have, like you were saying, healthier wines we deliver to the door. And so I just kind of leaned in and trusted, and I just kind of went day to day, Rolonda. I didn't think too much past a week. I just went day to day and just really focused on what I felt was my next step in life.
Tiffany, I can tell just by talking with you how positive and how good you are to yourself. I mean, when you say take it day to day, even in this time, and listen, I call myself the master reinventionist, but don't ever underestimate that I get a little stumped here and there too. And it's like I said to somebody the other day, I said, I got to reinvent myself again. Everybody was like, yeah. But give yourself credit for the little victories, y'all.
Yes.
Just take one day at a time. Just say, you know what? When you get up, I've started watching myself talk instead of getting up going like, oh, I've got so much to do today. I say, oh, I have an opportunity to accomplish so much today. I'm so excited about the things I get to accomplish today. 3 things on that list. At the end of that day, when you're taking your bath and having your glass of wine, say you're proud of yourself. You really did it. Even if you just changed the sheets on your bed for the first time in 2.5 weeks, nobody coming over, they ain't gonna know, but I know. I'm proud of myself for doing that. The little joys, you know, taking one thing at a time. Erin, you want to talk next?
Sure. So I actually, I've been an educational consultant for 25 years. And I knew my contract was coming to an end, but I started to look for other jobs in education, and nothing really seemed to be that exciting to me. And I kept finding myself drawn by all of these jobs that I had, what I thought had no experience in, that maybe I wasn't qualified for, that tended to be in the wellness and kind of food industry just because it was interesting to me. And I had actually, Tiffany and I are high school friends. And while we had been in touch, it had been a long time since we had connected, and we had our high school reunion. And Tiffany brought some wine to the reunion, and she said, hey, would you like to try my wine? And I said, well, you know, I don't really drink wine. She said, oh, why not? And I said, well, I have all of these health issues. Like I have autoimmune disease and I get inflammation, and it's just like, it's too much. I don't drink wine. She said, well, you know, give it a try, fine, let me know what you think. So I did. I really didn't think anything else about it. I enjoyed seeing Tiffany at the reunion, but in reflection, that was kind of one of those moments, those sliding door moments that was a normal, everyday interaction that then a year later, in thinking about, well, I'm in education, but I'm kind of interested in all these other things. And then I happened to see Tiffany posted something about, like, I'm eating dinner and I'm drinking this wine. So I called Tiffany. I was like, okay, tell me about your business. Tell me about the wine. I thought you were a minister. Like, what's going on? So we had, you know, a couple of days of talking. I continued to look for work with other popular wellness like Thrive Market and Daily Harvest, just brands that I liked and identified with their mission. And then I called Tiffany back and I said, well, I think I want to join you and be your business partner. And she was like, what? You know, I was just sharing what I was doing, but I was really in the place where I wanted to learn something new. I'm kind of at the point in my life that I want to stretch. I'm kind of tired of the same thing. My kids are getting a little older and more independent. I need a job that's totally flexible, that I can do remotely, that's very social, where I can connect with people. And so wine fit really well, even outside of the pandemic. Bringing wine to lunch at a friend's house or to a dinner party is a natural thing. So I thought, well, even though I'm not a salesperson, surely I can just bring wine and the product should sell itself.
Right. But I like how you're tapped into what you knew what your strengths were, knew what you're good at, you know, and you embrace that. And, you know, when you do that, when you step out like that, the rest of all the stuff like, well, what if, why are you sure?
Right.
The voices in your head, you know, no, I'm good at talking. I know I'm good at stepping out and meeting people. I can bring some wine and I can handle yeah, perfect.
Right.
And congratulations on your move.
Oh, yes. Yes. And that was very spontaneous. We had connections to Colorado, but again, because of the health issues and wanting to have some normalcy in Los Angeles, kept getting the numbers higher. And so we just decided to kind of go on an adventure to Colorado and see what life brings. And like you said, it's a day by day, you know, each day there's new challenges and the kids are happy one day and sad the next day, but this is where we are right now. We may go back, but you know, I'm trying something new. So every day.
And I think it means a lot to your kids to see you getting your hustle on and making things happen in spite of what they're hearing outside,
right,
in the world as well.